Andy, the last home league game under the lights tomorrow night. It's been a good season for Under the Lights, and I suppose I just want to finish that off tomorrow.
Yeah, it has, and I hope it'll continue that tomorrow. Always nice to see it Under the Lights. It's good atmosphere, and performances have shown that. So hopefully we can do that again, and like I say, back up a good point away from home.
I was going to say, your final thoughts on the weekend, having had to assess it again, I guess.
Yeah, obviously, I still think a point to where the total we want to get to is a good point, no matter whether it's away against Oxford or away against Brackley at top of the league. I still think it's a good point. So I know there'll be frustrations. I wish people think we should win every game, but it's not possible. We're still on a good run of form. We've still lost 1 in 17. Oxford changed a little bit up in personnel, and it showed that they've got a little bit more organisation, leadership in there now, and they performed really well. Again, there were no mugs against Kings Lynn from the Saturday before. They were down to 10 men, and now they lost 2-1. So for me, good point. Could we improve? Yeah, of course we can. Could we have played forward a bit quicker? Yeah, we could have done. But we're not going to always get 10 out of 10 performances, and we've got to realise that it's, in the long run, it's not the case of a sprint, it's a marathon. And the marathon is the point still towards the end of the season.
The last question I asked you at the weekend was about whether you thought the referee had given a penalty. Having seen a different angle of footage, I suppose we should have had one, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a replay. It looks like it's struck him on the arm going goal bound. So, again, we can't help that, so I can't really say too much, but it does look like it's a penalty. But it is what it is. We had a couple of chances early on, both halves, which we should have done better at. Towards the end of it, we looked a bit more front foot. So, yeah, I mean, overall, it's another clean sheet, which has been fantastic for the players as a group, because it shows they're resilient and hard-working. So, I mean, overall, look, we move on to Tuesday now, and if we get hopefully 3 points against this, it's not a bad week.
In terms of Darlington, then, I know they got a narrow victory at the weekend. Reverse fixture was a big improvement on last season as well, but still a tough opponent.
Yeah, watching Darlow over the last 3 games, they've done really well. On a good run of form at the moment. They've worked hard against Kings Lynn. They could have probably got 2 or 3 or 4 against Kings Lynn on the counter attack, so we have to be mindful of that. They've got a good couple of strikers in Cedric Main and Bakra, and they were all know their roles, and Steve's got them doing a good job there. So we know we have to be bang on it from the minute 1 to the 91st, 5th minute, whatever it may be. We've got to make sure we do our jobs. If we do our jobs together, collectively, then we get a result. If we don't, we go on our own, then they'll cause a problem, because they've got players that are dangerous. They've got 2 wide players that are very direct and like to come inside onto the stronger foot, so we have to be mindful of that. But whatever they throw at us, we deal with. If it takes us 5 minutes to get the grip of what they're doing, then the players are more than capable of adapting. If we have to change shape, we change shape, but we want to impose ourselves so they make changes. So we've worked on all scenarios, and we know we're drilled ready for the game, which again will be tough, because I think that they've had a good run. So no, mindful of them, but also full focus on us.
The reverse fixture could have gone either way. I think I seem to remember Alfie going through a couple of chances for Cal, but Ross on the other end was quite busy that night, wasn't he?
It was, yeah. It was a freezing cold night, that one. Yeah, they had a few chances. We had a few chances. Wasn't a classic game, but just 2 hard-working sides cancelled each other out. And Darlow got a good home form. So yeah, we know we're going to have to be spot on tomorrow. But yeah, I think at home we're become a different outfit, and again we make sure that we just concentrate on our roles, because we got players that can hurt any team in this division.
In terms of injuries, any latest on Danny Whitehall after his scan on Friday?
Yeah, for Danny, he's got a grade 2 on his medial. So it'll be 4 to 6 weeks. 6 weeks being probably the latter. But it's been 2 weeks of tomorrow on it, so fingers crossed he's doing some straight line running soon. He's just got to be mindful of the change of direction. When you have that little strain on your medial, it's the pinch when you move your knee in a certain direction. That's what you get. So you can do straight line running. It's just a curve running. He's going to have to be careful. But he wants to get back in. He wants to be back in for probably involved against Chester and Kidderminster. which would be a massive plus for us. But again, we've got players that can fill in, and they will do.
I suppose with them two particular games in mind and him setting a target, you've got to make sure he's right, doesn't he? And not just thinking because they're massive games.
Yeah, yeah. With Danny, we have to make sure he's right. It's not about just 2 games; it's about the rest of the games after that. I think it's 6 games after Chester. I think is remaining. So, yeah, we have to be mindful that we don't just shut Danny in and as a reoccurrence of it, because it's a strain. It's not a painful injury. It's a weird one where you just feel a pinch in your knee and you can't get that fluid movement in your running. But yeah, like I say, it's a big miss. But I say we have to make sure that we focus on what we can get better at with the players we've got available.
I suppose the positive is, you say 4 to 6 weeks, but with half of the 4 gone, you feel like you're a little bit closer, don't you, mentally?
Yeah, you do, and Danny himself feels that. He's just got to make sure he keeps on top of his fitness, which he is doing. Yeah, like I said, he's just got to make sure he's mentally strong when he comes back and make sure it's done right, and which we will do, and we'll make sure he's physically fit to return.
Everyone else okay from the weekend?
Yeah, no injuries at all. Everyone's fit. No knocks, no bruises. Well, a couple of knocks, but they're fine. They'll roll out. So yeah, Boise's just missing with the suspension, and everyone else will be involved. Just
speaking to Will Evans, obviously, who's come in for Boise, I suppose the target for him, 2 clean sheets, and it gives you a massive headache for when Boise is eligible again, doesn't it?
It does. I've said all along we've got centre halves that are competing for each other, and Max is walking a tightrope as well, so it could be Boise and Will Evans together. So, like I said all along, everyone's got to be ready for the chance to step in. If they're not, then they'll step straight back out. So Will's taking his opportunity. I thought it was good on Saturday. You can see what it brings in terms of his passing range. Again, I've never seen a centre half hit a 100-yard dive before. So he's got his locker. Every centre half has got a different attribute. You probably look at Boise, say he's probably the one that's going to head, kick, clear, scrap. Max is strong, quick, and covers really well. And Will's probably the one who you look and go, right, Will hit the diag. Again, he's got all the attributes. You look at his body now; his body's a lot better than it was, and that's a credit to himself. He takes on his diet really well, and he looks a fit, strong lad now. Which you do get when you get older. You start looking after your body a bit more, because you look in a mirror and think, I used to be a little bit toned and that. So yeah, all 3 have got attributes, and I've got Ollie Rose that can play there as well. Tad Denton can play there, so we've got cover in all those positions. So yeah, everyone has to be on top of the game, otherwise they don't play.
With Will, it's interesting because he said I've not got many years left, and I've got to be ready all the time, and that's just what he has to do, isn't it?
You do. When you come towards the end of your career, you start looking in countdown. Hoping you play every single game. I remember I used to, obviously I played back then, you look at a game and think, I've got to play this game, otherwise I won't get in for a few games. And it's important when you're an older player, you get a consistent run of games. So for that, Boise and Will, they're both, I'm not saying they're both older, not saying last stage of the career, because they can play to the 40. I think Kevin Ellison's 46, I think now he's still playing. So you can play for as long as you really want. Your movements do come a bit slow, which is unfortunate. I mean, I joined in a few times, and your body thinks, your head thinks what you can do, your body's like, it's not doing that. So, yeah, it does come to us all, but no, they've got loads of years left, and people look after their bodies better now. So yeah, they've both got a long career left in front of them.
When you say people look after their bodies better, is that instilled in themselves, or is it just the hard work of the staff around you, or is it a combination of both?
Combination of both. I think the staff around you push it into you. Like I said in pre-season, I tried to lead by example in terms of fitness-wise. I don't stop doing that. In terms of themselves, yeah, everyone looks like somebody look good on the beach, don't they? They walk on the beach, and someone looks at you, you obviously question yourself. So they all look after themselves. They all want to keep fit, and it's an image thing for them at times. So, like Cristiano Ronaldo, his body's his image. So his image gets him a reputation in football, and he produces because his body can do it. So that's. People are taking a lot of time on the bodies out, and that's why you think there's a massive difference between the hybrid, the part-time and the full-time. There's not, because people have personal trainers outside of football now. So on a Monday we'll have a recovery session, but other people still use it as a gym session. So that's where you can see the fitness levels are not, I'm not saying they're getting closer, but they're not getting further apart. So when people say, oh, you're full-time, you should beat your part-time team, it's disrespectful, because the part-time players are still keeping fit. Yes, they do have jobs, but we're still working hard on their own stuff. They have personal trainers, they have football specialists. They do it for themselves. So you're a self-employed person, so you do keep as fit as possibly can. The only little detail between it is you probably get a couple of days to work on a shape more than the other opposition. So yeah, everyone does look after themselves more.
Some of them are personal trainers themselves, aren't they, the players? That's their job. So.
Yeah, it is, because the PFA have done a lot of courses on personal training, so a lot of them are players, ex-players that have dropped down to part-time to fulfil the job and look towards the longer stages of their careers. So a lot of them coming out of full-time football to join part-time, and it's not a bad job when you've got two jobs paying quite well.